Time now to check in with the CTV Weather Center and Lauren Fernandez. Hey, Lauren.
Hey there. So we've been seeing some light flurries in the past couple of hours, and we're expecting that to continue until around 6 or 7. And then we're going to see mostly cloudy conditions overnight. -5 will be our low. Starting off our Saturday with sun and clouds. -4 will be the wake-up temperature. We're looking at a daytime high tomorrow of -2. Once again, we're going to see sun and clouds for our Saturday. Sunday, even sunnier. We're looking at mainly sunny skies and -4 as a daytime high. Going into Monday, we're starting the week off at a mild 0, and we're looking at more sun and clouds. And midweek, the temperatures will start to drop closer to seasonal. So we'll see around Wednesday, we'll see -7, -8 as daytime highs. And that's all in the latest of the forecast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Lauren. Have a great weekend. Time for James Mennie.
This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall. CJAD 800.
Here's James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette. How you doing, James?
I'm fine. I feel like I'm a contestant at a game show, though.
I was trying something out here. Come on down.
Okay. You never know. Oh, my goodness. What a day.
What a day. What a year already.
Yeah.
We're a week in, and it seems like we've done a month's worth of news. It's incredible.
Well, listen, don't complain. You know,
no, I'm not complaining. It's just that it's been a charged week.
Well, it's funny because that's when I know this is going to be our last time together for a while, and I wanted, because we've kind of sidestepped the whole kind of what's to come, what's coming down the pike, and I got to tell you, experience has taught me that you should not make predictions unless you're like in 98% certain that's gonna materialize.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've determined, though, is that I don't want to sound like I'm trying to pussyfoot around this, but just given our conversations over the past 2 weeks and the way we have seen things sort of like coalescing, if we say there's a trend, I got to say that whether it's federally or provincially, the status quo that we have been discussing, indeed, for the past 2 years, I think is going to get blown out the airlock this year. I don't believe there's going to be a federal election, for example. However, I do believe you're going to see some real, and maybe actually hear some real rumbling, see it manifested within the Liberal Party about the leadership of Justin Trudeau, much in the same way as you may, probably less obviously, perhaps via leaks, you'll see the same thing happening about the leadership of Pierre Poilievre. I think both sides, I think the Tories and the Liberals, are looking at the people in charge right now and really wondering if and when an election comes, whether in this particular case, these are the guys they want, on the bridge of the ship. And I have a firm conviction that these issues are going to come to the fore in 2023. I absolutely believe it. And I think as well, and I've mentioned this week, I think people out there, just ordinary people, have, post-pandemic world, lots of issues facing them. They want to have hard, fast, identifiable solutions to the problems that are coming down. I don't think you can get by saying, well, as long as we exhibit solidarity and, we all march together, everything's going to be fine. I think people are really starting to feel the pressure economically, and they don't want rhetoric or how can I put it, greeting card sentiment to replace leadership.
Yeah, this is very interesting because I was thinking about this as well, James, and I have a feeling, and actually at all three levels, Montreal, provincial level, Quebec City, and Ottawa, three levels of government where in the past year and a half, resounding election victories. You're going to say minority government for Trudeau, but let's face it, it was a solid win anyways. And at the end of the day, we're post-pandemic, politically speaking. And now they have to deliver on a ton of issues, and they don't have anywhere to hide. And I have a feeling that this growing concern about government not working at all levels is going to catch up with all the levels, all the leaders.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, well, not working, obviously they're still working hard to collect our taxes, but I think they're not I think the sentiment will be they're not working hard enough, and in fact, they're not working for our best interest, the interests of Canadian taxpayers, Quebec taxpayers, and I just think that much in the same way, there's been this huge social change, not just in Canada, but certainly in North America. But the whole idea of working from home, the whole idea of changing our socializing habits. I think that's changed our outlook as well when it comes to our expectations from our politicians. And especially when you're sort of like ensconced in your home and you are sort of responsible for a lot of multitasking, not just professionally but personally or perhaps domestically. You don't have time for some kind of nicely crafted but essentially empty statement, whether it's from Francois Legault telling us not worry, patting us on the head saying not worry, whether it's Justin Trudeau saying that, we're so lucky to be in Canada and don't worry, everything's going to be fine. There are real issues out there. And I can only hope as well that in my line of work, whether it's people who are just working in general assignment or people who are working as political reporters, that we stop with the kind of pussyfooting around, that we really start grilling these men and women the way we used to, say, even 10 years ago. I realize there have been big changes in my business, and most of those changes in terms of staffing, in terms of ability to do stuff. But all that said, I think we owe it to our audiences to really, and I'll use the old hackneyed expression, really hold their feet to the fire, because if there was ever a time, I think that where we're going to be in the next 5-10 years is determined. It's this coming year. As you say, there's no pandemic to hide behind. Most people, they're aware of COVID. They're aware of all the health threats, but they're equally and perhaps even more aware of the fact that our healthcare system, whether through funding from Ottawa, whether through execution in the province where we live, is not working. And I think the tolerance level for that kind of, how can I put it, built-in obsolescence is quickly approaching zero. I think people are going to start standing up, and I think that people will no longer accept, as I say, the political status quo. That's certainly been in effect since the spring of 2020.
Moving on to a story we covered yesterday, and now we got more information about this death near Roxham Road.
Yeah, it's a terrible story. A 44-year-old man who is believed to have been a migrant. He was in Montreal. He was trying to get back, I guess, to connect with family members in the United States. Which, he, given where he ended up, he presumably came through at Roxham Road. He tried to get through. I don't know what happened. The Sûreté is saying that there's no evidence of foul play, but the poor man basically froze to death. He was reported as missing on December 27th. The SQ called off the sort of official search operation because they said they had information that suggested he had already gone into the U.S. That clearly wasn't the case. So we have one man who's died at Roxham Road. We had 4 people who died near Emerson, Manitoba, a year ago, trying to cross through Manitoba in the middle of winter. They too died of hypothermia. But my question now, and it's funny because we had mentioned the issue of Roxham Road during the first week that we were together, because here was Radio Canada reporting that Justin Trudeau was going to have a plan about Roxham Road and people will be turned away. I wonder if this is going to accelerate this, David. And I wonder if, as one person suggested, and maybe I'm being naive thinking that the feds might actually turn around and designate Roxham Road an official crossing point. That thereby sort of like invoking or activating the Safe Third Country Agreement and taking that off the radar, because
off the
as
board,
people know now, I'm sure that most of our listeners know, as an unofficial crossing point, anyone who comes through has to be processed seeking asylum, and they can't be turned back. Whereas, and I'm not really sure this would take an act of Parliament. I don't think this would require sort of legislation.
No.
If it's an administrative move, you just turn around and say, yeah, you see the spot over here where we've already built a processing center, where we've already built accommodations? Let's just turn it into an official crossing point. And boom, there you go. Third-party agreement.
That's very interesting because you remember, James, back in December, and I remember I was filling in for Tom with Aaron and Natasha talking about this. At one point, Radio-Canada was reporting that there seemingly was a new deal between Ottawa and Washington on the Safe Third Country Agreement.
Well, I don't know if that deal is going to be subject to an act of Congress. I don't know if that new deal is going to be subject to scrutiny by the House of Representatives, but I can tell you right now, they can't pick up the phone right now, David. They're kind of busy. In fact, they've adjourned until 10 p.m.
10 p.m., okay.
Well, it looks like the hapless Kevin McCarthy, who has already lost, I think, I'm pretty sure it's 13.
Yes, 13 votes.
14th time as a term. And he dredged up. I don't know if you've been following this.
Yeah.
He dredged up, I think, more than a dozen votes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, God knows how many deals with how many devils he made to get that kind of support. But it's going to be fascinating to see how this comes up. But, yeah, can you imagine? I mean, this is another element entirely, how our relations, which are so tightly enmeshed with those of the Americans, will be affected by the simple, and I can't think of another word to describe it, the simple third world political chaos that's prevailing right now in what's supposed to be the most powerful nation on earth.
Yeah, and even if McCarthy becomes speaker, I mean, he will be so beholden to...
Oh, there'll be so many people pulling his strings.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what? And they've also apparently reserved the right to boot him out of there if he so much as looks at them sideways. So
yeah, kind of like Aaron O'Toole and the Conservatives. Remember?
Well,
yeah. It's the same type of thing. Anyways, James, I thoroughly enjoyed as always. I've got the best seat in the house. I get to listen to you and then exchange with you. It's one of the great perks of hosting Montreal Now. I love the past 2 weeks. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, and listen, same here, and I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to our next encounter.
Yeah.
In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and of course, have yourself a great 2023. All I'm saying is don't depend on the status quo.
All right, we will not depend on the status quo. Thank you. Bonne fête de semaine.
À la prochaine.
À la prochaine. James Mennie of the Montreal Gazette.